This video will change your life. Must watch the whole video.
International multidimensional artist and multimedia journalist Kashif Sohail is thankful to everyone. This video is going to change your life. You must watch the video from start to end.
International multidimensional artist and multimedia journalist Kashif Sohail welcome you to Washington America show. This video will change your life. Must watch the whole video. This video is going to change your life. You must watch the whole video.
The subject is motivation, as it applies to both diet and exercise. Now, in the course of this episode, you're going to hear me reference exercise and going to the gym specifically. However, if your goal is to lose body fat and get your body weight down, I still think that you're going to find this subject to be very enlightening. And just by inserting in your mind the word diet whenever I use the word exercise, I think you'll discover that the motivating factors remain the same. If you did an extra half hour of whatever your job is at your home, relaxed in whatever clothes you want, with the TV blaring, you could watch your favorite TV show, you could have your kids around, and you would be paid $50,000 more a year, how many of you would truly find the time and find the motivation to do that work? And you could do this work, and you could have the TV on, you could have the radio on, you could have your kids around you, you could do any number of outside things in your environment, but you had to do the work for half hour, 5 days a week. And if you did do that, you would be paid $50,000 more than you currently make. That's amazing. $50,000 a year more for just a half hour a day, just 5 days a week. You still get your weekends off, right? You get your half hour of work at your home out of the way, and then you've got the rest of your evening. And you know what? You don't have to commute at that point. You've already changed into comfortable clothing. You've got your TV set to the channels you want for the night. Oh, it sounds awesome, doesn't it? And you would be earning $50,000 a year more. The majority of people would do that. But if I told you that if you took 1 half hour a day, 5 days a week, $50,000 is more important than all those other factors of life that improve when we can just do a half hour of exercise per day. You probably know that a half hour a day, 5 days a week, really isn't sufficient exercise for you to do in order to maintain optimum health. Because you'd have the cardiovascular aspect you'd have to do, resistance training to build muscle and bone density, abdominal work to build your core. Truly, a half hour a day would not be sufficient for all of that. But if you're someone that has never done anything, or someone that struggles with getting some exercise in, wouldn't it be an awesome start? That would be 2.5 hours of exercise per week. In a perfect world, we'd want to double that. But wouldn't it be an awesome way to start out? And I guess, realistically, I can look at this. You can say, yes, $50,000 is really important because that's cash money that you would get that you could spend on your living expenses, on your kids' clothing, on college funds, on vacations, any number of things you could certainly use that $50,000 for. But for whatever reason, we still rank that up higher than our own personal health, our own personal longevity, and the quality of our life. I want you to think about when you have said to yourself, you know what, I should go to the gym, I should go running, I should do some exercise, but you know what, I just don't have time. I'm just too busy. I have too much going on in my life. But you know what? $50,000, somehow with all that other stuff going on, you would find that half hour to do that work. So if it's important enough, you find a way to do it. You get what's called a payoff. You work half hour, $50,000. It's an exchange. What you put something in, you got something back. It's harder to see the fact that if you're doing this exercise, that it's harder to see what the future will hold, that will make you healthier long term. Because at whatever age you're at now, it's really hard to imagine what you would be 20 years from now. Because whatever age you're at now, think back 20 years ago. When you were that age, could you imagine that you would be living and doing and looking the way you do currently 20 years later? No, you probably had a different imagination for what was going to happen. So it's hard, I know it's hard to project that image and try to say, yes, if I do this now, I will get the long-term benefits. I will get a long-term payoff. It's harder to do because there's so much unknown. But certainly, at the current age you're at, if you look back 20 years ago, whatever age that was, think about what you were doing, what your attitude was, what you were working towards, and think, it's funny, I should have thought to do this, or I should have gone into this field, or I should have married this person when I had the opportunity. We all have, not regrets, but we all have dreams. Our dreams change as we age, as we mature, as other components of our lives come into effect, and therefore it just ends up changing our long-term projection because our priorities have changed, whether it be through people, through work, through our own self-analysis and growth. We all change. So if 20 years ago you were thinking something different than what you're living now, it's hard to see that 20 years from now you're going to be living differently than you do right this moment. But you will be, God willing, health willing, the universe willing, however you want to look at it, that you will be here 20 years from now. And wouldn't you want to be the best that you can be for yourself, for your family, for your friends, whatever is important to you in your life? Wouldn't it be great to be the very best that you can be 20 years from now? And that's why that half hour a day, Monday through Friday, even if it's just in your home, doing some stretching, doing some abdominal work, doing light resistance because you bought a pair of 5-pound dumbbells, something for that half hour, 5 days a week, because you would get such a payoff long term. But we're human, and we need more than that to motivate us. Thinking of what way our lives will be 20 years from now is really hard to really have an honest interpretation. So we need something more to motivate us to get there. But just being aware, starting out today's conversation with the awareness that you can find the time to do the things that you want to do and that you need to do in your life. You shuffle things around, you reprioritize, you take a little bit of time off of this and add a little bit of time onto that. You do get done what you want to get done, the way that you prioritize your life. I want you to be open-minded and willing to explore the possibility that you have made some excuses that you have truly believed when you have said them. Almost everyone that makes excuses that they can't do something truly believes what they're saying. They're not lying. They're not even lying to themselves. It's just what you believe based on your priorities. You feel that it's a valid excuse not to do something. So I want us to explore changing those excuses into real, finite, motivational tools with payoffs that will allow us to really get our own self-motivation. Because I can talk endlessly, giving you all kinds of motivating sayings, some inspirational sayings, as you'll hear from the fitness world all over the place. You can do it. No pain, no gain. You'll only regret the workout you don't do. All kinds of motivating, inspirational phrases that for a split second probably gets you motivated. Yes, as soon as I turn off this show, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to work out because I was just watching this exercise for half an hour on this video and I'm fired up. I'm going to go. I'm going to do it. And you probably will. You probably would. You'd go, you'd do that. And maybe the next day, yeah, I'm still motivated. I'm going to go because I remember what they said. I remember that they said that I can be the best that I can be. But the way life has of coming in and messing that up with scheduled problems based on work and family and sickness and vacations, any number of things that you don't foresee. That inspirational, motivational phrase that you might have heard that got you all fired up, or that workout that you saw on TV that got you fired up, is falling further and further back in the memory. And now you're having trouble getting motivated again. So why not try to find some long-term solutions, some long-term ways of looking at things that will make a true impact on your life, a true impact on the way that you think about priorities and the way you think about fitness. Everything that we do in life, we do because there is a payoff. Now, that is not my personal revelation. That was not an idea that came to me when I was laying in bed at night. This has been floating around psychology and motivational speaking for quite a long time. We always
This video
do
will
something
change your
because
life.
There's a payoff.
Must watch the whole
Even
video.
the things that we don't want to do, we do because there's a payoff. If you go to work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, you don't do it because you love your job. No, you go to work 5 days a week, 40 hours a week, to get that paycheck that enables you to have the lifestyle that you currently have. If you drive your kids to soccer games and ballet and music practice, and you tire yourself out doing that, you do it, though, because you know you're being a good mother, or good father, good parent. That you're doing the best you can be, and that your kids will grow up to be a more well-rounded person with appreciation for the things that you've done, and all of these different activities will allow them to advance in their life more than if you didn't take the time to do it. So you take the time to do it, even when you're tired, because there's a payoff. You pay your bills. You write out your checks and pay your bills because there's a payoff. So everything we do, whether it's because we have to, or especially because we want to,
This video
we
is
do it
extremely useful.
only because there's
We
a
want you
payoff.
to watch the whole video.
So where fitness is concerned, and getting the motivation to follow through on a workout program and learn to prioritize that in your life, we have to establish what the payoff will be. And for a lot of people, that payoff truly can be different things. You wouldn't think so, right? You'd say, hey, we're all doing it to have better health. We're all doing it to live longer and have better health. That's why we exercise. That's not really true. In fact, that's pretty low on the prioritization of why you do exercise, believe it or not. You'd automatically think, no, I'm doing it because I realize that my health and well-being will be better if I do this fitness. But the true fact of the matter is the number one reason why most people do fitness and exercise on a regular basis, they do it because of appearance. They do it because it will keep weight off of them. It will allow them to build some muscle. It will allow them to look better, perhaps, than other people at the same age. That is the true first priority for why people do exercise. When you get on a scale and you notice the numbers have dropped, when you try on clothes and the clothes are too big, when you go somewhere and people say, hey, if you've been dieting, you look a lot thinner than you used to. Because don't you want to be a person who's not only healthy, but a person that looks good when you're 70 years old? Of course you do. We've all seen 70-year-olds that look like crap. They can barely, they look ragged. They've had too much sun. They smoke still. They drink, all kinds of things about them, and they look crappy. And we don't say, hey, you know what? That person is 78 years old. I hope I live that long. You probably look at that person and go, you know what? I hope when I get to 78, I don't look like that. Because it's appearance. And we need to grasp onto that. We need to accept that and really hold that image in our mind. If you are close enough to someone that you would be willing to get one of those cloth tape measures like is used for sewing, and have someone that you're close to, that you feel comfortable with, measure your body around the mid-upper arm, around the chest, 3 inches above your navel, at your navel, 3 inches below your navel, and mid-thigh on each leg, and keep track of those numbers. And when you have the photo done every 6 weeks, also have those measurements done if that's a possible thing to have done. And keep track of that. Keep a book where you write down those numbers, where you can see those numbers. And then on those days when you just feel like, you know what, I can't do it another bloody day. I've been dieting, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I don't want to go to the gym, this isn't working, I'm tired, I just want to give up. That's when I want you to go and look at those photos, the progress in the photos, and I want you to look at the numbers, the progress in your inches changing. Hopefully your waist numbers are going down as you lose body fat, and hopefully your chest and arms and legs are going up as you build muscle. In actuality, they could kind of stay the same if you're losing body fat and gaining muscle at the same time. We have this weird thing in our heads. For those people who have lost a lot of weight, I think you'll understand this most easily. Sometimes, no matter how hard we've worked, how much weight we've lost, how much muscle we've built, if we have a certain negative thought in our head, a certain negative attitude, because we're tired, we're sick, we're overstressed. During those times when we look at ourselves in the mirror in our underwear, we might see ourselves just as we were before we started. We're going to think, oh, look, I haven't lost any weight. I haven't really gained muscle. Because when you're in a negative space in your head, when you're standing looking in a mirror, you're going to kind of drop your shoulders a little bit and kind of relax your abs a little bit. And, you're tired, you're worn down. And when you see that image in the mirror, you're going to convince yourself that it's all been for nothing, that you look exactly the way you did when you started. That's, you could say that is a sign of body dysmorphia, but I just think, honestly, it's a realistic psychological mind space that we get into when we're overstressed for whatever reason. We look at the negatives rather than the positives. And that's why having those photos and having those concrete written down measurement numbers, or if you have clothing that you now fit into that you didn't fit into before, it is time when you need to pull those out and really concentrate on those and say, yes, right now I'm in a bad headspace. And don't fight it. Don't fight it. Just close your eyes, take a breath, and acknowledge that feeling is what you're feeling currently. You're feeling down. You're feeling depressed. You're feeling unable to continue. Well, just let that come in. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. Just let it come into your mind. You're looking at it, and you kind of just let it float away with the clouds. It's simplistic, but it works. If you do it. If you practice it. You're always going to be told when you're in that negative mind space to fight it. Oh, come on. Get up and do something. Get back on the horse. Pull up your bootstraps. Do what you got to do. None of that's going to help you. If anything, is going to make you feel worse. So just let the negative mind space come in. Just look at it, acknowledge it. Hey, bad mood, how are you? And just let it float away. And in a faster time, it will go away than if you didn't practice that exercise. And then focus on those photos and the measurements. And look at yourself on another day once you get back into a more positive mind space. And then when you look at your body, you're just automatically going to stand with your shoulders up higher, your abs pulled in more. You're just going to see a better body because you're there in your mind already. Those photos can be such a tool for you. You can even get photos of other people that you can put up and have as a comparison or a goal that you are trying to achieve. Say someone has really good abs and you have intermediate abs, but you want those really good abs. Put the photos side by side wherever you're keeping your photos. And whenever you feel down and drawn, you can't go on, look at those abs of the person that you want to get, and then look at your own, and then look back at the former photo of you, and look back at the former photo of you, and compare them, and you will see the progress that you've made towards looking like the person in the photograph. I just want to caution you about that. That can be a wonderful, motivating tool. But make sure, A, that you're comparing yourself to someone else the same age that you are, or in general. And be careful of magazine photos because they're going to be photoshopped and airbrushed. It can still be a motivating factor to, yes, I'm going to push my abs. I'm really going to try to get those cuts that person has. Just be aware that truly you would have to have makeup and lighting and a little bit of airbrushing perhaps to reach the level of what that person looks like. So just kind of have that in your mind. Have it as something you can move towards, something you can work towards. But you're always going to fall a little short because that photo is unrealistic. Try to compare yourself as realistically to someone else as you can. Someone of your same sex, of your same age bracket. And maybe it's someone you know. Maybe it's someone at your gym. Maybe it's one of your friends. If you're a guy and you lift with a friend and he has great abs, but the photograph and the numbers, again, can be concrete factors that you are able to analyze as you go along and show your progress. And that can be motivating because if somebody else that you are hoping is going to say, hey, you look really muscular and big and you've lost some weight, and you go to a party and for whatever reason that person's preoccupied with other stuff or they've been drinking or whatever, and they don't comment on you, rather than be disappointed and depressed of, I did this for nothing, you can go back to your photos and your numbers and you can see that, no, truly things are changing for whatever reason that one person didn't see it. But I know that things are changing because here it is. So when I work with my clients, I always stress the appearance as the number one motivating factor because it's the true one in their mind. It's really the reason they're doing the exercise. And because it's a measurable thing that you can see and look at the realistic numbers. The second reason I try to motivate people and get them interested in continuing with exercise is for their health. What we probably think should be the number one reason. So if you're eating better and you had higher cholesterol and now your doctor says, hey, you're in the range that we need you to be in, that could be a motivating factor right there. You don't have to go onto a statin drug for your cholesterol because you've been eating well, you've been doing cardiovascular exercise, and your numbers now come down into the normal range. Yay! Great motivating factor to keep going. So health is important, absolutely. I also will ask clients, especially those really struggling, if there is any important events coming up in their lives. And we use that date. We keep track of that date. We circle it big in red on the calendar. Every appointment I have with them, I say, only X number of more days that you've got to get ready for that event. And then as the time gets closer, I'm like, you know what? Your abs are looking better. Your chest and arms are looking better. But let's put a little bit more size on your legs. Let's prioritize your legs a little bit because you're going to be wearing shorts because it's going to be in the middle of the summer. So you don't want stick legs. Let's concentrate on the legs. And we use an event as the reason to push forward. There's a specific date, a finite date that we are working towards. And that in itself also can be a motivating factor. Find something coming up that's important to you and that it's important that you look good for that. And keep as close track of that date approaching as you can. A lot of what I'm suggesting, you have to do a little bit more work to accomplish. And if you tuned in today thinking I was just going to tell you something that was going to be easy that you didn't have to do, the sun would come out and the angels would sing and you would suddenly have enlightenment over what you should do to be motivated. I'm sorry to say that's not the case. You are going to have to work towards your motivation. And by doing some of this, I guess we have to call it paperwork, or logging things, writing things down, keeping track of things. You do have to do that in order to keep motivation going. You might see people in gyms working out that have little notebooks with them that they're making little notations in. And those people are usually someone that's working with a trainer, and the trainer has said, keep a log for me of the days you come in and what exercises you do and what weights you lift. And by the way, for any of you guys that are striving to be the most muscular that you can be, by keeping that kind of log with you when you're working out, you can keep track of your maximum weight that you lift on each exercise, and you'll be able to plan out and push yourself on the aspects of your body that are lagging. You can do that because you're keeping track. You're keeping a log book with you. But writing things down and keeping track is very important in keeping your motivation up. So our appearance is a payoff. Better health is a payoff. Looking good for a specific event is a payoff. It may be something else in your life. That usually covers the big things, the big reasons that people do exercise. But you might have a more personal reason. I did for a while. My father died at 52. My oldest brother died at 46. Both of heart attacks. And my other siblings all have heart problems, and I have a heart valve problem myself. And all my life, building up towards the age of 52 when my father died, I kept having it in my head, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. No matter what, I'm going to outlive my father, is what I started to think. So as I was 42, I said, I've got 10 more years to work hard so that I can see when I turn 52. And then when I turned 50, it was a big celebration. I got 2 more years to go. I can do this. I can do this. And once I hit that date and moved beyond it, it was like I won the Olympics for me. Because all my life I had feared I was going to drop dead of a heart attack in my 40s or early 50s. So that was a big payoff for me. Now that I've outlived him, I'm looking at other factors in my life to see what the payoff is for me to continue. When I can tell you that my body fat is X and my weight is X, I'm excited about that. Because it's not just me seeing it, but it's thousands of people listening to the number. So look at those things, the appearance, the health, and the specific events coming up, as tools that you can use. But don't be afraid of looking into your own life and trying to find out what payoffs are. And I can kind of find it fun. I'm a little odd in this respect, probably, but I find it kind of fun to look sometimes at the different things that I do in my life and say, what is the payoff that I'm getting for doing this? And if I can outline what the payoff is, and it's a good payoff, then to me, okay, I'm going to continue that activity, and I'm going to prioritize it because I'm getting this big payoff. And then I might look at something else and say, I'm doing this, but I'm getting nothing from it. Why am I doing this? Then I know, you know what, I'm going to try to eliminate that and see how my life is with one less thing that I have to think about. So sometimes to look at the payoffs of each thing in your life can be very beneficial. What are your payoffs? What are your personal reasons? Think about that. And I encourage you to try the appearance thing, to try to accept it, and to take the photos and take the measurements and keep track of those things. Log down your weight each week. Keep track of those numbers so you have those finite numbers in front of you. It's going to be so easy for you to say, yeah. You know what? I'll do it, but I'll just kind of keep track in my head. No, you're not going to do it. I've been doing this too long. Trust me, you're not going to do it. Get yourself to write it down. That's self-discipline. To keep track of it is self-discipline. If you say, I'm going to go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you are writing in your logbook and you didn't go to the gym on Wednesday, you're going to know, oh, I skipped there. Gee, there's a reason why I might be moving towards gaining weight again. I've been skipping these days. It's hard to do because it's self-discipline, it's self-parenting. And everyone just kind of poo-poos the idea and say, yeah, sure, I'll do it, whatever. But if you're serious and you've tried all these other methods and diets and you've worked with trainers and you've done classes, whatever it is that is not working for you, why couldn't you just open your mind and try something simple like this and give it a try? What harm is there in giving it a try? It's usually because you're afraid you're going to see things you don't want to see if you truly keep track. You'll begin to lie a little bit. And if that's the case, that's when you look at your priorities and your payoffs. And you really keep track of that. And you have to find inside of you what's important and the ways that you're going to prioritize all of the things in your life so that you can get the most important things done and you can cast off any of those things that you might be doing that really aren't benefiting you in your life.
Please share the video, subscribe to our channel.